Buenas tardes a todos. A nombre del Seminario de Metafísica de la Facultad de Estudios Superiores Agatlán de la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, me complace darles la bienvenida a esta segunda conferencia, el ciclo de conferencias que acompaña nuestro curso Schopenhauer versus Schopenhauer, el único pensamiento y el triunfo del genio maligno. En esta ocasión tenemos el honor de contar con la presencia de la doctora Arati Barua, a quien saludo agradecido por su generosidad y le doy la más cordial bienvenida. La doctora Barua es la directora fundadora de la División India de la Sociedad Schopenhauer y es profesora del Departamento de Filosofía del Colegio del Desbandú de la Universidad de Delhi. Además, es miembro del Consejo Científico del Schopenhauer Jahrbuch que publica la Sociedad Schopenhauer en Frankfurt. Es autora del libro La filosofía de Arthur Schopenhauer, publicado en 1992 en Nueva Delhi, editora de los libros Schopenhauer y la filosofía india, un diálogo entre India y Alemania, en el 2008, Schopenhauer por sí mismo, mundo y moralidad, perspectivas vedánticas y no vedánticas, con Michael Gerhardt y Matías Kohler. También editó el libro Comprensión de Schopenhauer entre el prisma de la cultura india, filosofía, religión y literatura sánscrita. Además, ha publicado diversos artículos de investigación, especialmente sobre Schopenhauer, Michael Krauss, George Grant y Gandhi, y dictado numerosas conferencias. Y hoy nos ofrece la conferencia que lleva por título India y Schopenhauer, a la luz de Sankara y Schopenhauer. Nuestro compañero de seminario, licenciado Axel Maldonado Velasco, fungirá como moderador y traductor de la misma. Antes de dejarle la palabra, quiero por último agradecer la colaboración con nuestro seminario por parte de la Sociedad Iberoamericana de Estudios sobre el Pesimismo, la Revista de Filosofía Cuadernos del Pesimismo, la Sociedad Española de Estudios sobre Schopenhauer y la Revista de Filosofía Schopenhaueriana. Ahora sí, Axel, te cedo la palabra.
Excelente. Dr. Arati, in a moment we will begin, but first I will explain the program to our fellow students. ¿Qué tal? Muy buena tarde a todos. En este momento que la doctora Arati nos dará su ponencia, yo estaré compartiendo de manera simultánea la traducción que hice de la misma en español. Si gustan, pueden ir colocando sus preguntas a lo largo del chat, o inclusive en YouTube o en los otros medios donde se está transmitiendo. Y al final de la sesión, yo buscaré traducir estas mismas para la doctora. Esta sesión tiene un límite de 90 minutos, está planteada así. Entonces, pues, sin más por el momento, yo creo que comenzamos. Déjenme nada más comparto aquí. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Dr. Arati, we may begin.
Yeah. Namaskar. Greetings from India. And first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Fernando Burgos and Dr. Jesus Carlos for giving me this opportunity to present my paper and to take part in discussion on Schopenhauer. My humble gratitude to the Philosophy magazine Notebooks of Pessimism of National Autonomous University of Mexico. Thank you. Now, can I start my paper?
Yes, please.
So my paper is India and Schopenhauer in the light of Sankara and Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer was perhaps the first major Western thinker who was so much influenced by the Upanishads that he wrote, "In the whole world, there is no study so beneficial and so elevating as that of the Upanishads. It has been the solace of my life. It will be the solace of my death." The Paragon Paralipumna. This view of Schopenhauer about the Upanishads not only shows his familiarity with the Eastern thought, but also it reflects his adoration for Indian philosophy, religion, and culture, which influenced him in a significant way. He used to keep a copy of Upanishad in his bed and bedside, and he used to read a page every day before going to sleep. So much influenced by the Upanishads. This much adoration he had for the Upanishads. Thus, in the world as will and representation, Schopenhauer clearly states that the readers can understand his writing better with prior acquaintance with the philosophy of Plato, Kant, and that of the Hindus. Prior to Kant and Plato, the Hindus also upheld the view that world is illusion. That is Indian view. According to Plato, the world we perceive is only a world of flux. It is illusory since the world is and also is not at the same time. Man is deceived by the false knowledge of this world. He believes in the permanent existence of this world, which is ever changing, and to realize the truth that the empirical world is in a state of flux is the true wisdom. We have a similar view, Indians, that is in the Vedas and Puranas. This is known as in Indian philosophy as the doctrine of Maya. The doctrine of Maya, according to Schopenhauer, explains the true nature of the world as both existent and non-existent. Similarly, corresponding to the Kantian view, there is also a distinction between the world of appearance and the world of the reality. The world of becoming appears to be constant to the human knowledge. The empirical world, which is only an appearance of reality, is explained as a dream of or illusion. Schopenhauer's conception of Maya, it is needless to say, is only partly true. In the view of Advaita Vedanta, the world is definitely not an illusion, rather it is an appearance of Brahmana, which is neither real nor unreal. Sad, asad, anirvachaniya. Unfortunately, however, though some attempts have been made earlier by others to find out the links between Schopenhauer and the East, not much work has been done so far to find out the connection between Schopenhauer and the Indian thought, especially by Indian scholars. Being so motivated, I propose to examine this relationship between Schopenhauer and Shankara. Shankara is a great Vedantist of India in a comparative manner with a focus on the problem of the relationship between the will and the world as its representation in Schopenhauer and of the Brahmana and the world of multiplicity in Shankara. So in Shankara, it is the problem of Brahmana and the world of multiplicity. And in Schopenhauer, it is the ultimate reality and the manifestation. So I do this in an analytical framework of interpreting the ontology of the absolute and its manifestation in the phenomenal world in the literatures of Schopenhauer and Shankara, and then I shall try to find out a solution to this problem through the application of the Vedantic notion of identity between the Brahmana and the Atmana in those thinkers. In doing so, I shall focus on a particular problem of bridging the gulf between the Brahmana and the Jivas. Jivas means the individual self. Brahmana and the Jivas in Sankara Advaitism or non-dualism, and the gap between will and the representations in Schopenhauer's metaphysics of will. Being a researcher on Schopenhauer's philosophy and having been exposed to Shankara's philosophy, I believe that a comparative study of both these thinkers will be highly illuminating in finding a solution to the problem of bridging the gulf between the will and the representations in Schopenhauer's philosophy. Also, it will be recognition to Schopenhauer's link with the Indian philosophical thought in a definitive manner, as well as an attempt to derive a synthesis between the Indian and the German philosophy. In Schopenhauer's philosophy, there are two sides of the same coin. On the one hand, there is the world of representations or the world of phenomena, and on the other, the world as will. The whole world is the objectification of the same will, which is the thing in itself, but the same will objectifies itself in different grades, in different degrees. There are 4 grades of the objectification. First, inorganic nature, then vegetable kingdom, the third animal kingdom, and the human will. The human will he takes as the best example of all the objectifications, where the will is manifested in its highest degree. However, the difficulty here is to connect the one individual will, that is the thing in itself, to the world of plurality, which is the objectification of that will. The problem arises because this world of multiplicity is to be again beyond any plurality. We have on the one side the individual will, and on the other side its objectifications as the phenomenal multiplicity. Nevertheless, Schopenhauer holds that though the will objectifies itself in plurality, it does not mean that the will is divided among the phenomena. For the same will makes itself known as fully in an oak as it is resolved in millions of oaks. So this is what the example he gives. That the same will is manifested in one will as it is revealed in millions of oaks. It is shown that the will in its objectification in a particular grade has to express itself fully in each of the object therein. Thus, as Schopenhauer remarks, in the fourfold root, the will, like a concept, has to deal with many things and yet must remain single. Hence is the problem how to bridge up the gulf between the will and the different grades of will's objectification on the one end, and between the grades and the particular phenomena of them on the other, because the will does not admit of any plurality. This gulf between the will and the grades, or between grades and the particular phenomenon of them, is quite similar to the gulf between the Brahmana and the world of appearances in the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta of Shankaracharya. But let us see how Shankara tried to find out a solution to this problem, and also to see whether the same solution is applicable to Schopenhauer's philosophy of will or not. A solution to this problem lies in Schopenhauer's concept of Platonic ideas, which he brings into his scheme of mental faculties and identifies them with the grades of the will. Instead of idea, he uses the word Platonic ideas in order to clarify that he adopts the meaning given to them by Plato. However, it remains unclear whether Schopenhauer's world of ideas has a separate existence than that of empirical world as it had for Plato. Nor it is clear whether it meant something similar to Kant's ideas of reason. It seems he did not follow either of them completely. Schopenhauer regards the ideas as prototypes which are identified with the grades of the will. As such, Schopenhauer is more interested in evaluating the logical character of ideas than in clarifying their ontological status. Hence, from the fact that Platonic ideas are identified with the grades of the objectification of the will, it does not follow that Schopenhauer assigns some kind of separate existence for the ideas in another world. Perhaps the real reason for Schopenhauer's identification of Platonic ideas with the grades of the will, which objectification should be sought in his urge to establish a relationship between the one individual will and the multiplicity. However, Schopenhauer's explanation of ideas as prototypes and his identification with the grades of the will is rather ambiguous. His sudden introduction of Platonic ideas into his account is termed by Professor Hamlin as bringing in a piece of alien ontology. But in order to understand the relation of the one individual will to the world of plurality, we must accept these representations and understand them on the model of Platonic ideas. Then only we can visualize the phenomena as the expression of the will as some grade or other. At the same time, there is a warning that we must not imagine that these ideas be constituting another level of reality apart from the will and its representation. Regarding the origin of ideas, Schopenhauer maintained that they spring from knowledge of relations. However, these ideas, though are derived from ordinary representations like relations, they are not bound by the limitations of these representations. Ideas transcend ordinary representations while being derived from them. By saying so, Schopenhauer wishes to emphasize that we can know them through abstraction from ordinary representations or phenomena. Epistemologically viewed, ideas therefore become secondary when compared to other representations. But insofar as the ordinary representations are themselves secondary, when compared to the direct knowledge of the will, ideas can be said to have, in fact, a tertiary status. In spite of all this, Schopenhauer terms ideas as the most adequate objectivity of the will, identifying them with the grades of the will's objectification. He also describes idea as the thing in itself under the form of representation. While compared to ideas, phenomena seem to be less adequate objectification of the will. But since the phenomena are capable of reflecting ideas, they are found to be in great conformity to them. This is how Schopenhauer tries to bring a link between the one indivisible will and as the thing itself and the world of plurality, which is nothing but the will's objectification. Hence, ideas work as mediators between will and the phenomena because they constitute a unity which holds within it an implicit multiplicity. Being the direct objectification of the will, ideas remain real aspect of the thing in itself, though under the form of representation. Hence, these ideas, while under the form of representation, are in a sense dependent on our having representations in general, are still accessible to us without being subject to the conditions that representations in general must conform to. Schopenhauer such an attitude to bring a reconciliation between the one individual will and the world of plurality through ideas corresponds to that of Shankara's attempt to reconcile between the Brahmana and the world of appearance, including the individual beings or jivas, through the concept of veil of Maya. Now we have to examine how far Shankara was successful in his attempt to do so. We have to see whether he could establish a proper link between the Brahmana and the jivas and the world through his philosophy of Maya. Shankara says that Brahmana Satya Jagat Mitha Jiva Brahmaiva Napa. This is a slok, a short slok. Within that short slok, the whole of Advaita Vedanta is expressed. He says, Brahma Satya Jagat Mitha Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Means the Brahmana is the only and ultimate reality, the world is false, and the jivas are non-different. Jivas means individual selves. Jivas are non-different from the Brahman. According to Shankara, while the world is false, the jivas are not false. Whereas the world is false, the jivas are not false. Rather, jivas are said to be non-different from the Brahman. So in Shankara's philosophy, the jivas are as real as the Brahmana is, but due to the lack of real knowledge, the jivas forget their own real selves as Brahmana, and so they suffer in this false world, thinking it as the reality. But actually, the world of multiplicity is a false projection of Brahmana, who is one and only one, because the Brahmana is only one and one. But this world of multiplicity is a false projection of Maya. It is a false projection of Brahmana, who is one and only one, but to the magical power of Maya, we see the world of multiplicity in place of Brahma, because through this magical power, the Brahmana appears to be multiplicity. When we can attain the real knowledge of Brahmana through our efforts, we can see the difference of the world of multiplicity and the one Brahman. And go back to our original status as we were non-different from, because our original status is that we are non-different from the Brahman. So we go back to our real status. We are non-different from Brahmana. It is a kind of realization, a self-realization. This is what Shankara says. How will you get the self-realization?
Excellent. May I ask you, Dr. Arati, if you could also read the part that you pointed out in the notes at the end of your script?
Yeah. That is the talking about the self-realization. When Sankara says that through self-realization we can realize that we are non-different from the Brahmana. But how to realize it and how to have the self-realization? So, but if we try to understand the situation from Sankaracharya's understanding and self-realization, it could be attainable in this life itself. As Socrates said, know yourself. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Socrates famously declared that the unexamined life was not worth living. Asked to sum up what all philosophical commandments could be reduced to, he said, know thyself, know yourself. Knowing yourself has extraordinary prestige in our culture. It has been framed as quite literally the meaning of life. This sounds, when one hears it, highly plausible, yet so plausible it is worth pausing to ask a few more questions. Just why is self-knowledge such a prestigious good? What are the dangers that come with a lack of self-knowledge? If we are lacking self-knowledge, then what will be the danger? And what do we, in fact, need to know about ourselves? How do we come to learn such things? And why is self-knowledge difficult to attain? When we speak about the self-knowledge, we are alluding to a particular kind of knowledge, generally of an emotional or psychological kind. There are million things you could potentially know about yourself. Here are some options. Narada is a character from our epics. I don't know whether you know. The Narada who seeks jnana from, says Sanat Kumar in the Chandogya Upanishad. There are many Upanishads. This is Chandogya Upanishad. In Chandogya Upanishad, Narada seeks jnana from, says Sanat Kumar, illustrates this truth. Narada is well versed in Vedas and Upanishads and other texts dealing with spiritual wisdom and the sciences of the ages. But he confesses to Sanat Kumar that he finds something lacking in all thorough knowledge. Means he has so many knowledge, but still he feels that there is some lacking. He wishes to know what this need signifies. Sanat Kumar shows Narada that the self or Atma is the source of all things, such as hope, memory, etc., as well as the source of all power, all knowledge, all happiness. Those who know the self are free of sorrow. The Mandukya Upanishad, there is another Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad says, having known the self, the sages are filled with joy. So if you know yourself, then you are filled with joy. They are really blessed and are tranquil of mind and free from passion. Realizing everywhere the all-pervading Brahmana, deeply absorbed in contemplation of his being, they enter into him. The self of all, Atma-jnana. This is said Atma-jnana. Atma-jnana gained as a revelation when realization comes through deep contemplation in the path of attaining liberation. The Upanishads that deal with the esoteric aspects of spiritual knowledge also make it clear that the higher knowledge of the self is not to be known by the study of scriptures, nor through subtlety of the intellect, nor through much learning. They affirm that the self reveals its true being to one who longs to know the self and engages in the light meditation. Since it is natural to become a prey to the ego and feel a sense of Santi mantras that help to check this trend, said Sri K. Srinivasan in his discourse. They are talking about the self-realization. Through self-realization, you can have Brahmana.
Okay, excellent. So now I thank you very much. I will proceed to reading the questions, first in Spanish and then in English, so I may ask you. So we have first question made by Dr. Jesus Carlos. This one first in Spanish. Hay en el único pensamiento de Arthur Schopenhauer propiamente una brecha entre voluntad y representación que pudiera consistir en un dualismo, tomando en cuenta que su filosofía afirma gen kai pan, o es una consideración posibilitada en el hombre por su modo de ser, esto es, poseer lenguaje o abstracciones. So he asked, is there in the only thought of Arthur Schopenhauer properly a gulf between the will and representation that could consist in a dualism, taking into account that his philosophy sustains gen kai pan? Or is it a possible consideration in the man because of his way of being? This is attaining having language or abstractions? I don't know if the question was clear.
That Schopenhauer will and the manifestation, then what you said? What is the question?
He asks whether there is a gulf between the will and representation that could consist in a dualism, taking into account the philosophy of gen kai pan, or is this gulf a consideration only possible because the man and his way of being is to have language and abstractions?
The gulf is there in Schopenhauer's philosophy, the gulf between the will, the thing in itself, and the world of objectification of that will. The gulf is there, but how to reconcile? So he said, so many things you have seen, that Plato's Platonic ideas, then the forms of ideas. He has said many things about it, that they are, how they are, the gulf is bridged. But it is not easy to say that the gulf is bridged. As I said in Sankara, Brahmana and the world of multiplicity. This is the same. In Schopenhauer also, the will is the ultimate reality and the world of manifestation is the multiplicity. So how they are reconciled. So in Sankara, you can see clearly, he says that the Brahma Sattva Jagan Mitha Jiva Brahma Evo Napara. That means Brahmana is the ultimate reality and the world is false, and Jiva Brahma Evo Napara means individual self is non-different from the Brahman. So if we realize it, then we go back to our original status that we are non-different from the Brahman. So finally, we are all the Brahman. Then there is no world of multiplicity.
I believe this question just pointed out a little bit towards if this separation from Brahma occurs because we have language, and then that has to deal with confusion.
That is true, but main problem is it is the magic of Maya. There is a magical power which is called Maya. Maya you have heard of. So because of the Maya, we see the multiplicity as real. This world real. Everything as real. As long as we are under the influence of Maya, So then this happens, and when we are having the self-realization that we are non-different from the Brahmana, then we go back to Brahmana. Then the world cannot attract us. The multiplicity world, it cannot attract us.
Okay, perfect. I will give the translation to Spanish. La respuesta de la doctora fue que la brecha está ahí, no es fácil afirmar que ha sido superada, ¿no? Sin embargo, en Sankara pues podemos ver que se afirma constantemente que Brahma es la última realidad. Y más allá del lenguaje, pues se entiende que es el poder mítico de Maya lo que causa esta división y multiplicidad. Sí, Carlos, si gustas preguntar tú directamente.
Sí, muchas gracias, Axel. Mi pregunta va encaminada hacia las ideas y si se me permite, quisiera hacerla un poco más directamente en inglés a la doctora Arati.
Yeah.
Si son necesarias, bueno, es una pregunta doble, si son necesarias las ideas en el aparato teórico schopenhaueriano y si estas ideas se asemejan a Platón. Entonces, Dr. Arati, I would like to know if you consider that the ideas in Schopenhauer's philosophy are necessary for its conception of the world, and if it does, if these ideas are really similar to Plato's ideas, because I think that there's a sort of a difference between them. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, what are the differences you say? Hello?
Okay, the difference is Plato's ideas are more like concepts. And Schopenhauer's ideas are like intuitions. He says, ante re, post rem, before experience or previous to experience, and what I mean, what it means, just a meaning or an experience, and all the whole possibility of experience, it's in intuitions. Concepts keep away a lot of the meaning.
Yes, it is just like that. The whole thing is that the world, the will is the ultimate reality, and finally the world we are seeing, that is the multiplicity. This is the objectification, he said, the animal kingdom, and then finally the human will, that is the highest manifestation. So what he said, finally that will and the objectification that remains, that gulf remains. Whatever he used, ideas, Platonic ideas, so many things, but finally the gulf is still there. He could not pick up.
Okay, thank you. But would you really think that these ideas are really necessary for Schopenhauer's system? And why?
Yeah. These ideas means Sankara's ideas, you are saying?
Yeah, the ideas in Schopenhauer's system and the ideas as an analogy from Brahma's.
Brahma. These are essentially, yes, everyone wants to get the liberation from this world of multiplicity, finally. So if you get a way how to get away from this world of multiplicity and suffering, Schopenhauer also said suffering, and he wanted to get relief from this world of suffering. Then you have to follow something. As Brahmana said, Shankara said, Brahma Siddha Jagan Mitha Jiva Brahma Banya Napa. So in that way, Schopenhauer also, he also follows. Every night he reads a page of Upanishads, and he said the Upanishads are the highest beneficiary reading, and these are the solace of my life, and it will be the solace of my life. Date. So why he is saying that he is following That is why. The similarity.
Okay.
I thought.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yo hago la traducción. I will translate. Son necesarias las ideas y si se asemejan a Platón, solo como tal, la voluntad es la realidad última. Cualquier cosa que utilices, ya ello. Son realmente necesarias entonces las ideas. Y lo que nos explica la doctora Arati es que pues, esencialmente todo el mundo busca la liberación. Schopenhauer también. Entonces, tomar este camino hacia la liberación, pues, la decisión. I would like to make two questions.
Yeah.
Two quick questions. And one is that if we can think of ideas in Sankara's philosophy, si podemos pensar en ideas en la filosofía de Sankara, and also in which way one can be initiated into meditation following Sankara's work.
Yeah.
Y en qué forma puede uno iniciarse en la meditación buscando seguir el camino de Sankara.
That is your question? That is your question? Yeah.
Yeah.
So here just now I have said that deep meditation is necessary to have the self-realization. But that thing, meditation or literature, all these things are not sufficient. Main thing is that meditation, then only you get the realization. You have to have the self-realization by any means. This is very difficult. It is not simple. So meditation is there, but also some other things are also nididhasana, sravana manana nididhasana. You have to hear, then you have to concentrate, then you have to do the meditation, then only you will get the self-realization. And once you get the self-realization, then this world of multiplicity does not attract you. You are free from all these things.
And the other question is there a way we can talk about ideas in Sankara's philosophy?
Means Shankara's philosophy, what ideas?
Yeah, if there's such a thing as ideas in Sankara's philosophy, or
like Schopenhauer. I just I don't understand. So Shankara's philosophy is very simple. Yeah, it is said Brahmana is their ultimate reality and the world is false. And we are non-different from the Brahman, pure consciousness. And we go back to pure consciousness.
Okay, I will translate your answers. Respecto a mi pregunta sobre la meditación, me respondió la doctora Arati que la meditación profunda es la necesidad, que es la posibilidad de realizarnos al pensar en nosotros, ¿no? La autorrealización mediante el pensamiento propio. Por otro lado, respecto a si había ideas en la filosofía de Sankara, me comenta que la filosofía de Sankara pues en realidad es muy simple, en el sentido de que no estamos separados de Brahma, por lo tanto, nosotros también somos pura conciencia. Entonces, no habría como tal una idea separada de nosotros, según entiendo. Sí, Carlos, si gustas tú hacer tu pregunta directamente.
Otra vez, muchas gracias, Axel. La pregunta es acerca de si hay una relación como la hay en Schopenhauer, de las ideas con el arte, en una posibilidad dentro de la religión brahmánica, ¿no? Entonces, si me permite decirlo, if I dare make another question, Dr. Arati,
Yeah. Sure.
I would like to know if there is a similar relation as there is in Schopenhauer between ideas and art, because there is a really very similar, a deep relation between what ideas are and how they are expressed in art, in music particularly, and if there is some similarity with that idea of Schopenhauer in Brahma.
In Brahma?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Music is always, you know, the best thing, but here it is not said. Shankara's philosophy, it is not. But these Geets are also music only. That sloka, as I said, Brahmasetta Jaganmikta. This is the shortest, briefest sloka through which the whole Vedanta is expressed. But that is how there are many slokas. They are also music. They are also songs, you can say. Yeah, this is okay.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry. I mentioned music just as an example. I mostly meant beauty, art and beauty and ideas. Is there some sort of beauty?
I am not understanding. Beauty, yeah? What is beauty?
Beauty, something beautiful, like in art, you know, in...
Oh, it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
Then, please tell me the question again.
Yeah.
Music is beautiful and what?
Yeah, I used music as an example, but I really meant what art makes, and that's beauty. And beautiful things are depend on the representation of ideas, directly of ideas. So, if these ideas have a relation in Hindu religion, how is this beauty? Is there a beauty like in Schopenhauer's philosophy?
Beauty is also here in Indian philosophy, but this is not like this. Aesthetic senses, you know, in aesthetic philosophy, beauty is done like in India also. We do beauty, but not differently, as you are saying.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will translate. Respecto a la relación de ideas y arte, luego sobre música, lo que nos explicó la doctora Arati es que la música está presente siempre, si hay diversas estrofas dentro de los Upanishads, ¿no? Y la belleza también está en la filosofía de la India, pero no a la manera del estudio estético. We have another question from Dr. Jesus Carlos. He wants to ask you, first he states, Schopenhauer distinguished two concepts of reality, Realität and Wirklichkeit. Which of these two would belong to the will if we affirm that this is real?
I did not understand. What are the two things you said? Two things?
Yeah, the two things are the two concepts of reality that Schopenhauer established.
Yeah.
Realität und Wirklichkeit.
These two I don't understand. You tell me in English. Realität is what?
Reality and
the other one?
Wirklichkeit. It would be like trueness, no?
Sorry, Wirklichkeit, ¿no? Efectividad.
Effectiveness.
Effectiveness of what?
Yeah, that
In Schopenhauer's
Schopenhauer-
philosophy, two things you said.
yeah,
One is
reality,
appearance
reality
and the appearance.
and
Really the
effective.
opposite. No, appearance.
No,
Appearance
no.
means it as it appears, but reality is the different, ultimate reality. And the appearance is the what it appears, the objectifications. These are the
Okay.
what are you saying?
He was asking more about reality and effectiveness. And
In what
which of
sense?
these?
Effectiveness in what sense? Effectiveness in what sense? Because we are talking only reality and appearance. In Shankara also we are talking about the reality and appearance, and in Schopenhauer's philosophy also reality and appearance. Reality is the thing in itself, the will, and the appearance is the objectification. Here in Shankara's, it is the world of multiplicity. So these two things we are taking. One is the reality and the other one is appearance, not the
Okay.
effectiveness. Effectiveness,
Is there a distinction between reality and effective reality?
Yeah.
Okay.
But even then, effective reality, whatever you say, there will be ultimate reality. How many realities you can say, but there will be one ultimate reality. The others will not be the ultimate reality. Effectiveness or not.
Okay, okay. I will translate.
Okay.
A pesar de que sí hay diferencia entre una realidad y una realidad efectiva, Wirklichkeit, gracias Carlos, en realidad, en lo que estamos pensando más bien es en una realidad última, que no está siendo, no está en estas dos. Por lo que entiendo, la trasciende. Ultimate reality will in such way transcend both of these realities, reality and effective reality, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sí, así es. Because this will be a return to Brahma, right?
Yeah, Brahman.
Sería un regreso a Brahma. Perfecto. I believe we had another question.
Yeah.
This is a little long, so I would say it first in Spanish. Hablar de conexión entre la objetividad y la voluntad no implica afirmar el principio de razón suficiente entre ellas como objetos del mismo. A saber, la voluntad sería la causa de la objetividad. Al final del parágrafo 29, Schopenhauer insiste en una pregunta desatenta. ¿No se caería en el planteamiento en la misma? No sé, Jesús, si nos puedas dar alguna indicación respecto de esta parte del parágrafo 29, de este final. Quizás ayude a clarificar un poco más la pregunta. Wait a second, please. The question, Dr. Arati, I believe can be summed up as if will is the cause of objectivity.
What? Will?
The question, if will is the cause of objectivity.
The will is there and the objectifications, the world of multiplicity. So how can you make to the same thing? Will is the ultimate reality, and the will manifests itself, objectifies itself in this world, like unorganized and unorganized nature, and then animal kingdom, then human will, like this. So the will objectifies itself.
Okay, in these distinct grades, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Sí, sería que la voluntad como tal se objetiva en estos diversos grados que ya se nos ha mostrado previamente. Luego me comenta Jesús Carlos, la pregunta es atenta es tomar a la voluntad como causa. But would this be a problem if we take will as the cause of this objectification?
Yeah. Objectification, what you are saying? Real objectification or false objectification? Objectification is objectification. The will is objectifying itself in different manner, in the multitude, in the plurality. So this is the problem, because one will, but it is objectifying itself in many things. So how to reconcile them?
Yeah, I understand. But in such thinking, are we taking the will as a cause?
What?
We are taking the will as origin for all of this objectification, right?
The will's objectification. The whole world is the objectification of the will.
Okay.
Then
okay. Pues sí. Sería entonces la voluntad objetivizándose a sí misma como tal. No sé si haya alguna otra pregunta en el chat o si alguien gusta informarse. Sí, Carlos.
Gracias, Axel. Y si se me permite otra pregunta. La doctora Arati hablaba sobre la autorrealización. Y yo me pregunto si esa autorrealización no niega el principio de la negación de la voluntad, ya que es una anulación de la yoidad. Entonces, ¿a qué se refiere esa autorrealización? Dr. Arati, I'm sorry, another question from me.
Yeah.
You spoke about self-realization.
Yeah.
And in Schopenhauer's philosophy, the self, myself, the I am, in a certain part, it's like neglected, it's annihilated. There's an annihilation of the self. So how can we talk about self-realization when we are annihilating the self?
No, for the self-realization, you have to work hard. You have to realize it yourself. Nobody can help you. This self-realization is by yourself, by meditation, by jnana. Jnana means wisdom, by whatever way, but you have to earn it. You have to get it. Nobody will give you. So Schopenhauer has some ego or ism, but even then he also has to transcend this world, and he has to go to the what to say. He also wants to get relief from suffering. He said the very thing he said, the world is full of suffering, and then he wants to get rid of from suffering. And how to get rid of the suffering is this, because he said that the Upanishads are the solace of his life, and it will be the solace of his death, because he respects so much, and he said that as if his philosophy is found in Upanishads. He says it is found here or whatever, so it is similar, he says. So this is also same. He also has to get the self-realization. Otherwise, he cannot get his liberation. To get the
Okay,
liberation.
and that liberation is a liberation also of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Super. Then I'll translate. Respecto a cómo se puede dar la autorrealización con una anulación si ocurre una anulación de la yoidad, lo que nos dice la doctora Arati es que para la autorrealización debes trabajar duro, meditar, ¿no? Buscar jnana, que es sabiduría, y debes de trascender este mundo y liberarte del sufrimiento. Y por ello, sí, ¿no? La autorrealización es algo que no puede obtenerse de manera ajena. No te la puede dar nadie más, sino que uno debe en sí mismo buscarla. Following these questions, I wanted to ask you another thing, Dr. Arati.
Yeah? What are the questions?
Yes. So it would be the best for us all to direct ourselves towards the Upanishads.
What? Can you repeat again?
Yes. Would it be the best for us to look for guidance in the Upanishads?
Yes. You have to look for the Upanishads and take the advice and follow. Then only you will have the liberation, like Schopenhauer.
Okay. To read the Upanishads would be an equivalent as to meditate or not?
Meditate, yeah, there is meditation. You have to do the meditation. You have to take a guru. Guru means teacher. Then you have to learn the things from him, the jnana. And then you have to meditate. Meditation. Then only you realize.
But to meditate and to take a guru, to meditate and
yeah, you cannot do yourself. You have to learn from someone. So you have to take a teacher. So he will teach you everything.
Okay, now I'll translate.
Okay.
Pregunté respecto a si era conveniente que todos nos dirigiéramos a los Upanishads para buscar esta autorrealización. La doctora Arati me responde que sí. Pregunté entonces si meditar era distinto a leer simplemente los Upanishads y me responde que sí, en cierta medida. Se necesita buscar a los Upanishads, pero también se necesita buscar un gurú o un maestro porque se necesita guía respecto a lo que significa la meditación. Sin embargo, pues esta búsqueda tiene que ser propia. Por eso se distingue en esto de cómo la autorrealización tiene que partir de uno mismo, porque uno mismo es el que busca al maestro y entonces se dispone hacia este aprendizaje. Y me comentó que es un gran esfuerzo y sí, una búsqueda. Okay, I believe we have one other question. I'll first read it in Spanish. No me quedó clara la inquietud que planteó la profesora. ¿Las ideas están separadas del mundo o no? Ay. I believe we will return to this question. Are ideas separated from the world or not? Is what Salvador asks.
Ideas separated from this world. When we are talking about the ideas, so we are talking about the objectification of the will. That ideas are different or ideas are same. So we have discussed it. So in that discussion, we got what? We got that Ideas are not in a different world. Ideas are also in this world. Like Plato said, it is not in a different world, but it is also in this world. But whatever we say, when we are talking about the final destination to get the liberation, so there all these things does not matter. Finally, you have to have the liberation, and for that you have to do the self-realization. Ideas or whatever we are talking about, they will go down. They are not in that.
Oh, okay. Super. Yeah, I believe it made things clear for me. Me responde la doctora Arati respecto a tu pregunta, Salvador, que al hablar de ideas volvemos a hablar de la objetivación de la voluntad y el camino que ya hemos recorrido con estos 4 tipos de objetivación. Las ideas, por lo tanto, se encuentran en este mundo, ¿no? Sin embargo, este camino hacia la liberación, este destino final, tú debes de buscarlo, sin importar el planteamiento de estas ideas. Como yo lo estoy entendiendo, es que no hay un planteamiento de las ideas de forma trascendental porque la salvación está en este mundo. O sea, que las ideas no pueden estar separadas de este mundo. En lo que tú estás haciendo está en el mundo. Tú te realizas en el mundo. También lo que piensas se está realizando en el mundo, ¿no? Y la otra forma de ver las ideas, pues entonces es como señala Platón, pues como sombras. Y lo que no se busca, y justamente lo que se está evitando ver son sombras, ¿no? Sino ver las cosas en el mundo. Okay, we have one third question from Dr. Jesus Carlos. I'll also read it in Spanish first. Respecto a las ideas, sí, podría aclarar un poco más el estatus ontológico de las ideas. Es decir, no son las ideas trascendentales al modo de los objetos ontológicos del principio de razón suficiente, esto es, espacio-temporales. Además, que los fenómenos sean capaces de reflejar ideas implica que estos son como espejos y no solo la pared de piedra de la caverna en la que se proyectan sombras. Habría un cambio respecto a la consideración de las ideas de Schopenhauer. Y por último, si las ideas son contempladas al margen del principio de razón suficiente, ¿cómo pueden ser objeto epistemológico? Okay, so this is a very long question, but I'll try to divide it for it to be easier for everyone here. Yeah. First of all, Dr. Jesus Carlos asked if you could establish the ontological status of ideas. He asks if the ideas are transcendental objects beyond space and time, being part of the principle of sufficient reason. Dr. Arati?
Yeah. What is the question?
The question is if you could establish the ontological status of ideas. And he asks if ideas are transcendental in the way of space and time, in the same way as space and time.
Ideas are what you are saying? Ontological status. Ontological status. We are not talking about the ontological status of ideas. Schopenhauer said he different things. Ontological status. He was logical character of ideas. When I was mentioning as such, Schopenhauer is more interested in evaluating the logical character of ideas than in clarifying their ontological status. He was not interested in the ontological status.
Okay, and could you point us towards what's the meaning of ontological in Schopenhauer?
Ontological is ontology. Ontological status means the ultimate ontology.
Mm-hmm.
So not here.
Oh, okay. So, mm-hmm.
You can define different way. One ontological status, one logical status, or epistemological status, like that. So he was not talking about the ontological status, rather he was talking about logical character of ideas.
Okay, I will translate. Que la doctora Arati afirma que no estamos hablando del carácter ontológico, sino del carácter lógico, no, epistémico de las ideas, ¿sí? Son distintos caracteres. Y cuando pregunté respecto a cuál es el significado de ontológico en Schopenhauer, me dijo, pues, ontología. En el sentido de realidad última. I believe there was another part of this question. Además que los fenómenos sean capaces de reflejar ideas, implica que estos son como espejos y no solo en la pared de piedra de la caverna en las que se proyectan sombras. Okay. So, in Plato, we have the cave and the shadows, right?
Yes.
So, if ideas reflect the world, wouldn't they be more than shadows, like mirrors?
Yeah, one can interpret like that. Many interpretations can be there. One interpretation can be there. But you can have to say those what you said. Ideas, they are also shadows. I mean, many interpretations can be from one thing. So one interpretation can be there. What you are saying.
Okay. Respecto a las ideas como espejos, me dice la doctora Arati que pues, puede haber muchas interpretaciones, entonces pues sí es válido verlas como espejos, más que solo como sombras. Y el doctor Jesús Carlos me plantea, para Schopenhauer es la doctrina de las representaciones compuesta por la dianología y la lógica, la que comprende también lo que antes se llamaba ontología, porque se creía que eran las propiedades de las cosas en cuanto tales, que no es más que la forma de nuestra facultad representativa, Vorstellungsvermögen, en la que todas las cosas, cualesquiera que sean, se presentan a sí mismas y por tanto reciben ciertas propiedades comunes. Y esta es cita de Schopenhauer. Okay, so Dr. Jesus Carlos cites Schopenhauer, and he's telling me that, he retrieves this passage from Schopenhauer that says, the doctrine of representations is made. The doctrine of representations is made by the dianology and the logic, which comprehends also what used to be called ontology, because it was believed those were the properties of things as such. That is not more than our faculty of representation, Vorstellungsvermögen, in which all of the things, whichever they are, they present themselves and by such receive certain common properties.
No, I can't. So many things are there.
Yeah, it's pretty long. Yeah. Es que son muchas cosas. Let me think, how can I divide it?
Yeah.
Right? He's asking about the doctrine of representations. No?
Yeah.
And he cites Schopenhauer, sure enough, that the doctrine of representations used to be called ontology. But this was not as such, because the doctrine of representation, it's only our faculty to represent as such. No? That's why ontology wouldn't be the same as our faculty of representation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Entonces, sí persiste una diferencia entre nuestra facultad representativa y la ontología, ¿no? Pero no sé si desde aquí se formule otra pregunta. No sé si me... Maybe... Wait a second, please. Okay. I send the direct translation to your chat. So if you could read it, please.
No, you are talking about the representation. Doctrine of representation is ontology. So it cannot be ontology. Ontology means the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is the will. Representations are not the ultimate. So that cannot be ontology. Ontology will be the will only.
Yeah, I will translate. Como tal, la doctrina de representaciones no puede equivaler a la ontología, en el sentido de que la doctrina de las representaciones pues no da cabida a esto porque la ontología es la realidad última. Entonces, la ontología más bien sería la voluntad como tal, ¿no? La voluntad sería lo que se nos muestra ontológico. Okay. No sé si haya otra pregunta. Ok. Bueno. I believe there are no more questions, Dr. Arati.
Okay. Thank you.
No, we thank you.
It was nice to discuss all these things, question and answer. Everything was nice.
We really thank you for your patience. We run again several things one-on-one, but I mean it's no easy subject.
Yeah, that is true. Schopenhauer is not easy.
No. So before finishing, I will only make an announcement in Spanish. Yeah. Bueno, para el seminario habría que dejar en claro que continuaremos el próximo jueves con nuestras lecturas respecto a Schopenhauer, ¿no? Y asimismo, les extendemos la invitación para nuestro siguiente invitado, cuyo nombre es Domenico Facio. Él es el presidente de la sección italiana de la Sociedad de Schopenhauer y nos hablará de más bien, la conferencia que nos compartirá se titula Las dos caras del pesimismo. Tal conferencia será anunciada mediante nuestras redes. Les agradezco a todos su participación, su colaboración y su paciencia también por la traducción en vivo. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Arati. We will have more events in the future. If you want to join us, you are more than welcome. And well, that's it for now.
Namaskar.
Hey.
Dr. Arati, we really appreciate your participation here. Thank you.
Thank you. Baba. Baba. One
Ahora
good, yeah?
cortaré.
Axel, muchas gracias.
This is over. Can I go? Hello?